Welcome back, my friends. So today it's my privilege to give you guys a quick first look at the official Sega Saturn wireless Bluetooth controller from Retrobit. So a lot of us have been waiting for this, and it is finally coming. Price comes in at $29.99. Pre-orders are available via castlemaniagames.com. I'll have a link in the description if you are interested. They also have the Sega Genesis ones coming out as well. We'll take a quick look at this in a separate video, but today we're going to be focusing on this guy. So they're also going to be releasing 2.4 gigahertz versions of these in the future. I believe sometime in November before the end of the year, but these ones are coming out first. And they are definitely pretty neat, very versatile. You can use these with plenty of different systems: Nintendo Switch, PC, Android, Steam, PS3, anything that supports Bluetooth, you're in it to win it with this thing. They're also going to be releasing as you can see down here, a Retrobit receiver to use this on official hardware. So that's pretty cool. So let's just go ahead and take a look at this, open it up. The back of the box gives you a little bit of information. I'm not going to read everything, but you get a 550 milliamp hour rechargeable battery. It is officially licensed. Has a lot of cool stuff going on here. It also includes a rumble feature, which is definitely nice. So let's go ahead and open this thing up and take a look. So this is a little different than the wired versions, the way the packaging is. I think this is really nice. You have the little Saturn logo, the controller on the front of the box. Nice looking on the back of the box. Sega Saturn, Retrobit, with the Sega copyright down there. Really cool stuff. Let's go ahead and get this open. Don't mind that back there. It also comes with an instruction manual. That's the first thing you're going to be greeted to. And you know me, I typically don't care about instruction manuals, but this one is one that you're going to need to go through, because to be able to sync it to different systems, there's different button combinations you will need. So with controllers, stuff like this, I always keep this handy as a reference. Because using on the Switch or syncing it up on the Switch, PS3, Mac, Windows, Amazon devices, and Android devices is all going to be a little different. And then there's some options with certain things. Like on the Switch, for example, and I love that this is included. If you want to use this on the Switch, you can swap the A, B, and X, Y buttons by holding down and start for 3 seconds. That is cool, because then it gives you that original Nintendo layout. Whereas the Sega layout doesn't always work for Nintendo stuff, but you can swap that, so that's really cool. You can also swap the D-pad to left analog mode by pressing and holding L and R and start for 5 seconds. So there is that. Here is the controller. Very nice stuff. If you've used the wired versions that they put out, you kind of know what to expect. This does have a little more weight to it because it has those rumble motors in there, which is really cool. But that D-pad, the 6-button layout, the Sega Saturn controller is one of my all-time favorite controllers, especially for fighting games. And if you want to have a simple controller, wireless, to play some fighting games or whatever else, Sega Saturn through emulation or on original hardware, like I said, when they released that Bluetooth receiver, this is a great option in my opinion. We have our L and R's up top, feeling very nice. All the buttons, everything feels really good in my opinion. Love that D-pad. Now, what else we get is a pretty lengthy charging USB cable, so that is nice. Nothing else in there. That's all we need. We didn't really need much else to get going here, but there is that. Oh, throwing stuff around, man. Here's the back. So you do still kind of have that little bump on the back where the cable would have normally came out of, but now it's kind of positioned for that USB. So it still kind of retains that original look. I kind of like that. So there's that. We're going to go ahead and sync this up to the Nintendo Switch. So very simple. In order to sync to this thing, we're just going to have to obviously turn the system on. Now, when you first do this, you would go to controllers, change grip order, which is down at the bottom there. So you'd go there, change grip order, and on the Sega Saturn Retrobit controller, you hold the home button and the Y button for a couple seconds, and that light will start flashing left and right. Every mode for syncing sets it up a little differently. The lights will flash differently. This is the Nintendo Switch mode. So there we go. And it is synced. And we're ready to go. So like I said, the one thing is with the Sega controller, it's A, B, C. Now, if we hold down and start for a few seconds, it'll rumble when it does it. It just rumbled. I don't know if you heard that. But now the A and B are swapped and the X and Y are swapped. So it'll feel, more similar to what you're used to if you want it that way. You don't have to do that, but it does make some games, playing like stuff like this, the Super Nintendo or the NES Online stuff, feel a lot more comfortable in my opinion. So I'm really glad that they included that. But let's jump into some Super Mario World, give you guys kind of a feel for how this works. Or, see that it works anyway. I mean, you can't really feel it through the video, can you? I mean, you could try, but you might get hurt or you might break something. So let's jump into a stage. Like I said, we swapped the A and B, so we're pressing the B button. And I've been using this quite a bit, testing it out on various different systems, RetroPie, Mister via a Bluetooth adapter on my PC, on the Nintendo Switch, obviously, on a few other things. And input latency, I hear it a lot with Bluetooth. People prefer the 2.4 gigahertz for a lot of things. And Retrobit does have us covered with that, with those versions coming out, like I said earlier, pretty soon. Can't wait for those, actually. Those are going to come with receivers for original consoles and USB. So that's going to be really cool to use on the Sega Genesis Mini and on original hardware. But for a lot of people, they like having Bluetooth just because, you can use this on a lot of things. And I think with how they have this set up, the input latency is definitely not bad. I'm not having any issue playing Super Mario World. This is one game I always test with controllers because I could feel it if something is really off. And for me, I'm not really having that kind of an issue with this playing Super Mario World. Or even, we could jump into, what the heck is it? Haven't played this in a while, but let's jump into NES and play some Super Mario 1. That's the one I always test for input latency to see how it feels for me. Now, like I said, I've been testing things quite a bit, and it feels good to me. The build quality of this feels very solid. It's one that I was really looking forward to, and I'm happy they sent me a review unit to take a look at. So just want to share my experience with you guys. Okay, here we go. I mean, it is kind of weird at times playing Nintendo games with a Sega controller, but this is just one option I wanted to showcase. Like I said, you could use this on plenty of other systems. So there's that. But everything's feeling good to me. I have tested this on the Sega Saturn with their retro receiver. I have a prototype, like a pre-production version of that. So that could change in the future. But using that, playing stuff like Street Fighter Alpha 2 and various other games felt amazing. So if you're a person who has original hardware and you want to grab this controller and have that versatility to use it on plenty of other different systems that use Bluetooth technology on your PC, Raspberry Pi, all sorts of different things, this is an option to look at. I'm not sure when that receiver is going to come out, but I haven't had any issues using it. It feels really good to me. Like I said, that's an early version of it that I had the privilege of testing out. So, hey, I haven't had any issues with it. So, seems like it's pretty good and ready to go to market. But like I also said, they do have those 2.4 gigahertz controllers coming out. And I'm actually really excited to check those out. I'd like to really use some official controllers on the Sega Genesis Mini and on original hardware with that 2.4 gigahertz technology, and just have those set aside for that system and use these Sega Bluetooth controllers for other things like occasionally on my Nintendo Switch or on my PC or Raspberry Pi. I always like having these Bluetooth controllers for different emulation options, and I think that's great. So, hey, just wanted to give you guys a little first impressions on the Saturn controller. I am really impressed with it. They've been knocking it out of the park with these officially licensed Sega products. Like I said, they did send this to me for purpose of review, but I think the price is right. I really dug the USB versions. I'm really digging this. I cannot wait for that 2.4 gigahertz version. But if this wasn't sent to me, I would have bought it anyway. But I'll definitely be getting a lot of use out of these. So there you go. Hope you appreciate it. Like I said, next up, in a separate, quicker video, we'll be taking a look at the Sega Genesis one. Very similar, just Sega Genesis style. They do have multiple colors of these, so take a look. Put a link in the description. Really do appreciate you guys. And with that said, I will catch y'all next time. Peace out. Bye-bye, and boom. Bye.